Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning. I bid to everyone. In today's presentation, I will be showing some factors of unemployment amongst Malaysian university graduates, and I will be elaborating the solutions and the future benefits that can be achieved by the step that had been taken by the graduates. So, firstly, I will introduce myself. I am Ainur Imanina binti Ahmad Azali, a PPI student from 2022 June intake, and today we'll be presenting my essay outline under the subject Grammar in Context. So now I will be explaining the meaning of unemployment. According to OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, it is defined as people over a specified age not being paid employment or self-employment but currently available for work during the reference period. Unemployment is measured by the unemployment rate, which is the number of people who are unemployed as a percentage of the labor force. Or simply put, as people who are jobless, actively seeking work, and available to take job as discussed above. We can see, even in the higher economic growth, we as a Malaysian still struggled with the amount of unemployed undergraduates in our country. This can be seen. So, as we can see from the data taken, in 2021, the rate of skill related underemployment for graduates continued to trend up, registering 33.9% or 1.55 million persons, which previously in 2020 136 million persons. This is due to a number of reasons or causes that contribute to the rise in the number of recent graduates seeking employment, which I'll be explaining later on. The first factor is the lack of relevant skills in undergraduate students. Another hurdle you may face when looking for your first job is when you are lacking in a specialized knowledge. It can include a wide range of abilities, such as speaking, presenting, and utilizing certain programs or software, as well as analytical prowess. It will ultimately depends on the sector that you want to get in. Graduates often lack the skills required by the employers, as university may not be providing the right kind of education to prepare students for the job market, leading to a mismatch between the skill graduates possesses and those required by the employers. But for this problem, there are some solutions that can be taken by the graduates so that they can improve themselves so that it can greatly improve their employment application after they find the abilities needed for the work. Some of the steps that can be taken by the graduates are by upskilling oneself. So here, what we know about upskilling is when we try to improve ourselves or we try to fit in the requirement that are acquired by the employers, such as exploring the abilities needed for the specific work. Like if you are going into a teaching profession, what do you need to be a good teacher? What do you need to be an educator? You have to upskill your communication skill. You have to be friendly. You have to nurture the caring value in yourself. If you want to work in like technology sector, which software do you have to master, which programs that you have to learn as a basis of your work. So after that, if you already know what you needed, you can take a class or a workshop under a coach or a mentor, so that with you can gain more knowledge, and you can have a great basis when you step into the real work environment. You can also look for mentor and coaches for advice that you may not find in the internet, since they are more experienced in the sector. They may know that some tricks and tips that you can apply in your future job. When you apply for workshop, usually you will earn a certification. This certification can be a proof that you have learned this basis, and it shows that you have a value that can make you applicable for the application. But the most important skill to master in whatever sector you are trying to get in is a good communication skill. In whatever sector, if you when we talk about communication skill, we usually think about two-way interaction between we and our client, customers. But no, even when you are working alone, you still have to talk to your employer, to your boss, to your superior, to your senior, to your teammates, and then you also have to have the communication skill to have to discuss kindly with your teammates if there's any misunderstanding happening. Communication skill also valued by how wide your range of communication is. Like in Malaysia, we know that most of our citizens can speak Malay and English almost fluently. So if anyone that can actually talk in Mandarin or Tamil, that is even better and usually sought after by company that have a higher marketability, especially on global scale. Great communication skill may enhance the team morale, engagement, and productivity. It can also improve the teamwork and cooperation in an organization. Great communication skill can increase the will result in improving the performance for the company, the individuals itself, and the teams. Next, I will be explaining about limited work experiences. So, as many employers requires, work experiences is very important as it reduces the effort and time taken for a newbie to adjust themselves in a new working environment. Most businesses need professionals with certain working skill to sustain the company's performance. This will result in financial instability and difficulty for graduates who have to pay basic living utilities. They will also struggle to secure employment until they actually have the credits in the field or finally meet the requirement needed by the employers. This long process may also cause the loss of talent and valuable skills among recent graduates and might cause some demotivation for them in the future. Some of the solutions that can be taken is graduates are ought to look into alternative possible and determine what abilities you have to acquire and which work experience would find your ideal position. If you are looking to be a manager in a cafe, maybe you have to start with being a barista first. You have to know the basis of the work so that if anything happen in the future when you are already a manager, you know what to do and you know how to fix the problem. There are many resources accessible online to help you expand your knowledge and skill set that will eventually benefit you in the long run. If you need to find tutorials, tips. Maybe you can find on YouTube or like websites that shows in-depth system and process on the work that you like. Maybe working in a oil plant is not as commonly known and not as popular as it is. So maybe you can find like a video under Petronas, maybe a vlog by the workers, so that you can find more real life experiences and you can put a reality check of the work that you are going to apply for. You can also attend on the job training programs and internship to demonstrate their working skill and talents. So if you are really good at technology, you can say that what about I came for an internship and you can evaluate me how my working is. And if it's not suitable, ask for what you can improve rather than just pushing it aside or hating the job on the spot. Try to find more ways to actually get yourself closer to the work that you actually wanted. So some of the benefits that will you get from trying to improve yourself is you can build you get to build off your past experiences that can benefit you in the long term. You may sketch out your job application strategy well before your graduation so that you know what the abilities that you need, the things that you have to prepare before you go for the work, and what to expect the living situation once you get the job. With these experiences and more detailed career vision, you are more likely to attract attention of your employer. This brings us to the next point, which is intense competition. Nowadays, a competitive employment market is one where there's a lot of competition for available opportunities. After your graduation celebration, you might get a really big shock as when you see in the real world, you realize yourself is just like a little fish amid of ocean of competent high achievers fighting for the same job as you. So, based on the need for labor and the quantity of employees present in the economy, a job market may contract or expand. A competitive employment market typically indicates that there are more candidates than there are jobs offered. It levels the playing field and raises the stakes for recent graduate. So your school background won't cut it when there are thousands of other applicants who have degrees and also looking for their first job. You as a graduates have to compete with experienced candidates, which make it more difficult for you as a newbie to secure your jobs. But you have to remember, do not be swayed by other people's desire. You have to make sure that you yourself is ready to finally get a grasp of the working environment. What about before you graduate? You need to accumulate appropriate professional experience. Like before, I already said about joining a workshop, class, finding a mentor, finding a coach, and then joining the apprenticeship, internship, and then some on one-to-one class. What about you try to do some volunteer work for non-profit? You might also start passion projects on your own to enhance your soft skills that might be useful in your future work. In addition, you may participate in a variety of student initiatives that happen in your institution, especially the ones that are related to the sector that you want to work in. Like in IPG, there's a program called PBS where the students will go to a primary school to watch how the actual teachers, actually handle and teach their students. With this, they can experience and see the real life experience of the work that they are going to pursue. With this, when you enter your workplace, you will be more prepared with all of the skills that you had learned from the previous activities that you had joined. You may also choose what you want from your job. With the time that you have taken, you can think about, do you want a fulfillment in addition to cash compensation? What about your work life balance? It is vital to embrace the reality of life and realize that your first job might not be as spectacular and as well paying as you had dreamed of. Lastly, we'll be talking about economic downturns. Economic downturns and recessions have been proved to result in fewer job opportunities, making it more difficult for recent graduates to obtain employment. Thinking about recession, we can explain it such as a time of weak economic growth. As demand for products and services decline, businesses start to lay off their employees while holding off on raising prices. So, during recession, unemployment increases and inflation declines. It is sometimes referred to as cyclical unemployment, which is partially normal, but if it wasn't avoided, it may cause a really bad effect on our country's economic growth. Uh, Cyclical unemployment happen when its need for labor is affected by changes in the business environment or economic downturns. Although cyclical unemployment is only temporary, like I said before, it fluctuates with economic booms and declines. But even in this situation, there are still some graduates who are being choosy in getting jobs. Consider that there are base salaries for entry level jobs and that ranking depend on tenure. These details will typically dictate how much you pay can expect to get. But because when you are still new, you lack of expertise in bargaining techniques. Recent graduates are more susceptible to being deceived into accepting lesser salaries in the present job market. In business, getting the highest quality at the lowest price is the ultimate goal. But you can be too shy or uninformed of your market value to demand the pay that you deserve. Yet, since we live in an era of knowledge, it is extremely simple to research online that the typical earnings for your profession, your position, and level of education. Ultimately, the crucial factor is getting into a good company that actually pays you fairly for your education and skills. And of course, enough to help you to pay for your living expenses. Following this, the government may take the initiative to do things like develop infrastructure and invest in emerging sectors, which will open up more jobs prospects that can be joined by job seekers and newbie graduates. Graduates will have a greater options to find work as a result. In addition, companies may develop school to work apprenticeship on the job training programs and an entry level job possibilities so that more people can actually feel they can know a little bit of the experience working at the company before they actually involve themselves fully in the company. They can also mentor young entrepreneurs with in the second stage where graduating students should think about launching their own enterprises which will not only produce work for them but also giving more opportunities for the other less fortunate graduates and job seekers. Governments may aid this process by offering rewards like financing and tax cut. Here, what like I explained earlier, when you do your research first about how much you're worth, you can you can see how you are getting into a good company that can pay you fairly. As a conclusion, unemployment among recent university graduates is a serious problem that must be addressed. Parties like governments, institutions, and companies should collaborate with each other to provide graduates with the skills and work experience that employers in the job markets nowadays demand. Entrepreneurship, internship, and apprenticeship programs and job creation are some of the way to go. By tackling this issue, we can ensure that our graduates not only find work but also can contribute later on to our country's economic growth and development. Therefore, addressing the issue of unemployment is crucial for ensuring economic, social, and political stability, as well as promoting personal well being and human potential. The consequences of unemployment for fresh graduates can be severe, including financial hardship, increased level of debt, and lower self-esteem. It can also have wider societal implications, such as decreased productivity and economic growth and increased dependence on social welfare program if there's not steps be taken to avoid all of this. That's all from me. Thank you.